Yo, what is up guys? This is Pedro here, and in today's video, I will be talking about the Washington football team traveling to quarterback Trey Lance's pro day. Both Martin Mayhew and Scott Turner both traveled to be in Washington. Do I think it's realistic we get him, and how much would we have to trade up to get him if we did have to trade up? And we'll also quickly talk about the Cam Newton news. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also, please hit that like button. It helps out a ton. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so like I said, Martin Mayhew, our general manager, he was in attendance at Trey Lance's pro day. Here are some other names of other executives. There actually weren't that many. Do it, but maybe because of protocols there are less. And now also offensive coordinator Scott Turner was also there. Who knows, there could have been another guy there, another scout, because only 3 were allowed per team. So I guess they're doing their due diligence when it comes to the quarterbacks. Let's see if they go to Mac Jones's pro day, to these other quarterbacks, because it would be interesting. I mean, obviously someone like Trevor Lawrence is very unrealistic, or even Zach Wilson, but when you get to Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields, one of those guys could slip a bit, or one of those, you could be willing to trade up for one of those guys, and you want to know if you think that guy is worthy of trading up for. So like I said, Scott Turner was there and Martin Mayhew. Ron Rivera was not there, but that's to be expected. He has a lot on his plate right now. They're figuring out what they're going to do in free agency and in the next couple of days, and you really want Scott Turner there. You want Scott Turner to see what he can do with Trey Lance, to see what he can do with these guys. And his height came in at about 6'3" and 7/8 of an inch, so close to 6'4", 225 pounds. And those are his hand, arm, and wing span measurements right there. And he had a pretty solid workout, and you guys can get some clips in the comment, or I'll put a link in the description right there. He had a couple nice deep balls. He finished 58 of 66 passing during his workout. Impressive pace to it overall, and well organized by Quincy Avery, who is his quarterback coach. He was able to show off lots of throws from various platforms. The ball came off of his hand with plenty of violence and urgency. He confirmed a lot, and he had a couple nice deep balls, and he was pretty accurate. There were a few, I didn't watch all of it, but I did see some. He had a couple really nice deep balls. He missed on a couple, but he had a pretty, good pro day. If you look at he didn't run a 40 time, but besides that, he pretty much did everything else. If you look at his stats this year, the really only red flags with Trey Lance is, doesn't have many starts. I believe it's about 17 starts this year. Only played in that one game. Didn't play great, but it's understandable. It is one game. It was a showcase game. Had a 50% completion percentage, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and also 143 yards rushing. But if you look at 2019, he had a really good year. 67% completion percentage, 2,800 yards, 28 touchdowns, no interceptions, got sacked 12 times, and then he also had 1,100 rushing yards and he's somewhat NFL ready in terms of that. He knows, to slide the protections and stuff like that, but the experience he has, it might be better for him to sit a year. And almost for most quarterbacks, unless they're like one of the generational talents or one of the best prospects in the draft, like someone like Trevor Lawrence, it is better for them to sit a year, sit, half the season. It helps their development a lot. But with Trey Lance, I think it would benefit him a lot if he sat a year or at least sat half a season. I think he is going to need it. Super young, he's raw. He has so many really, really good traits, but he needs maybe a year or half a season to sit behind a veteran quarterback, I think. To do that. Also, the limited amount of games, and not only limited amount of games started, but also they didn't throw the ball as much as, a lot of these other teams do. Didn't get many throwing attempts in, which is also not the best. I mean, he can definitely throw, but you want to see him get more and more and more reps. We'll see, where he goes. It likely will be in the top 10. Who knows? This NFL reporter right here got asked, who are the first 4 quarterbacks gone? And then this guy said Lawrence, Wilson, and Lance, all likely to be gone by 4, Fields by 8. Who knows about that? Things are going to change. Some teams are going to view quarterbacks differently, but I think it is safe to say that, Trey Lance is going to go in the top 10. Probably before then, probably top 7, top 8. Who knows? There could be something that teams don't like, and maybe he falls, but it is likely going to be top 10. Same with Justin Fields. I think one of those 3, though, will fall. One of these 3. Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance. I don't know if they'll fall to 19. I know a lot of people don't think Mac Jones is going to be gonna go in the top before we draft, but if you look at a lot of the mock drafts and if you look at what some of the scouts are saying, it's likely he goes in the top 10, but I do think one of those 3 will fall and slip for one reason, and maybe we will be able to trade up just a little bit, maybe from 19 to 12 or something like that, to get our quarterback. But I do think if you want to get Lance or Fields, you're probably going to have to trade up to that number 7 spot right ahead. Who knows? Maybe it's worth it. Maybe really, really, really like a guy, then I think it's going to be worth it. But if you think a guy, he's solid, he has some upside, I don't think that necessarily is the way to go. And one thing about Trey Lance, why I don't necessarily love the fit here, because I don't think he is ready to play right away. I think he can play because he is a dual threat quarterback. So if he can't, if it's taking him a little bit of time to adjust, throwing the ball at the NFL level, he's going to be able to lean on his legs and run the ball. I just think, he's better suited for another team that can afford to have him sit for a year, that has a veteran quarterback that he can learn from and has great offensive weapons. We have Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson, but we need other receivers. We need more depth at certain positions, and we could, improve possibly the left tackle position. So that's why I'm not super high on Trey Lance coming to DC, but I do really like the prospect. I think in the right system and the right team, if he gets developed correctly, which is it's the same thing for every quarterback, but I think especially Trey Lance, I think he can be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Top 5 when it's all said and done. Not top 5 all time, but top 5 quarterback in the NFL at some point in his career if he's developed, correctly. So that's it on Trey Lance. Make sure you guys go and check out some of his highlights from the pro day. And then also real quickly talk about Cam Newton. The Patriots are finalizing a 1-year deal worth up to $14 million for Cam Newton. But if you actually look at it, it is much, much less than that. There's a lot of incentives in that deal. I think his signing bonus is like 1.5 or 2 million and his base salary is 1.5. And there's a bunch of incentives in there. So that crosses off Cam Newton to Washington. A lot of people obviously linked him here because of his ties to Ron Rivera. But Ron Rivera had the chance to get Cam Newton last offseason, didn't. So a lot of people expected, a lot of the beat reporters here said that it's very unlikely that Cam Newton comes to DC, and they were correct. So let me know what you guys think about Trey Lance. How far up are you willing to trade up for him, and are you willing to trade up for him at all? Because you're likely going to have to trade up for Trey Lance. And also, your reaction to the Cam Newton news. Thanks for watching. Peace.